Ayo, ayo, mencoba Mobilitat.
So we're still at Battery Days in Barcelona, and we just met with Michael Lippert. Herzlich willkommen in Barcelona.
Thank you very much.
Who was so kind to come over to our stand here about Innovation Days. And Michael is the president of BEPA and also director of innovation for energy at SAFT. So tell us about BEPA, Michael.
Well, BEPA is the Battery European Partnership as industry and research based in Brussels. And we are what we call the private side of a partnership between the European Commission and the private side. And this partnership is called Bet4U. And the goal of this is to drive forward research and innovation in Europe. So within the partnership, we decide about the priorities and the money we spend on which type of topics in battery research and innovation.
And what are the technologies coming up, or what are the innovations that you think Europe can position themselves in the battery value chain in the next couple of years?
Maybe first of all, we have to say that we are looking at the entire value. So there is not a single topic that is prominent. We work from materials, raw materials, battery cells, to system technology, how to integrate mobility, so EVs and other mobile applications and stationary applications. Now, of course, a strong focus is on battery technology. And right now, for the past years, we have been working and continue to work on solid state technologies, of course, in different generations. So it's not one projects that will solve and bring us forward in the TRL on solid state. And the upcoming topics include sodium ion, of course, but we're also looking into other long-term technologies based either on redox batteries or on just other materials to come. So these are post technologies.
Like sodium, or sodium is one of them? Or?
Yeah, so sodium-based technologies is obviously a hot topic and something where Europe can position itself.
Also, one of the issues we have in Europe is the access to raw material. Like, we don't have access to raw material for batteries as other regions do. So one of the areas is also the recycling of the battery, I guess, where Europe can excel in its positioning, maybe.
Yes, of course. I mentioned, first of all, we're working on the materials as such, and also support initiatives in the mining and in the processing industry, more in the processing industry. And this is very strongly related to the recycling, because also very often it's the competences and it's the same players who look into raw material recycling. And in the recycling industry, of course, it is still a long way to go, because we need to scale up on the one hand, but we need the volumes of second life batteries that for recycling in order to scale up. But of course, we also need to improve on the technologies of recycling, and this includes anything from sorting to safety up to really hydrometallurgical processes, for example.
We see in the batteries are not only for mobility, also for storage, right? So
absolutely.
And we have seen mobility in the last time has not been growing as was projected in Europe, but the storage is growing quite a bit now, with more and more houses having its own production with photovoltaic and storing. So is there different technologies for mobility and for storage coming up? So are there like focused technologies just for storage?
Well, yes and no. The needs for electric vehicles as such are obviously different, and there will be different, in the end, different types of batteries. I mean, it's mainly about cost, and it's about weight for the electric vehicles, and also the way they are integrated into the vehicles is very specific. Whereas when you talk about stationary systems, it's not that much about the weight. It is about lifetime, cyclability, safety, of course. So the answer a couple of years ago was very clearly electric vehicles are going to NMC and stationary are going to iron phosphate. And by now the picture has somewhat changed. We will have both NMC and nickel-based technologies and iron phosphate in the mobility. And clearly the stationary side today, the industry today is mainly using iron phosphate batteries, but there is an opportunity to go to totally different post-lithium technologies on the stationary side.
Okay.
This being said, it's again not only one technology against another. You can do. Uh, it is about the use case, the size, the integration of this technology into a vehicle or a stationary side. And maybe something to add on the stationary side, you think of or you see um, residential storage or storage, what we call behind the meter in industries, which is a growing sector. But what is booming and is driving the stationary side today is, of course, the integration of renewables. So we co-locate large utility scale. So here we're talking about tens of megawatts, hundreds of megawatts, worldwide, even gigawatt projects now, either in standalone or in co-located locations with solar and wind. This is the obvious use case, and the very much developing is globally to support our electricity grids, because one of our issues, and by the way, it has been just underlined by the COP 29, is that our grids are not strong enough in order to transport all these intermittent variable renewables. And here again, energy storage is one of the solutions, not the only one, not the silver bullet, but one of the solutions to avoid grid congestion and to avoid curtailment. And this is an issue which is growing with the growing penetration of renewables, of course.
Very interesting. Maybe just a level of abstraction higher, talking about the different organizations we see. You mentioned But for You. So But for You is what is the role?
But for You is the name of the partnership.
Okay.
It's a partnership between the private side, so
public
industry.
Public and private.
Yes, it's
Okay.
a partnership between the private side, which is industry and research, and the European Commission.
Okay.
The European Commission, under the frame program Horizon Europe, has dedicated an amount of money over a period of 7 years. All right, and in this partnership, we discuss and decide together how this money is going to be spent. And obviously, this is a rolling process, because in 2020, we would not decide what are the topics we will deal with in 2026. So we have yearly work programs in which, and again, along the entire value chain, we define the most stringent topics on which we should spend money in research and innovation. We describe them very precisely, so we write together the calls, and once this is approved, these calls are published, and industry and research will apply for these projects.
And IPCEI is part of the same scope, or is a separate?
So the IPCEI, if you look along the level of maturity, they come in at a more industrial stage. Maybe to say that we consider that BEPA, which I represent, is a part of this ecosystem. And in this ecosystem, we will have Battery 2030 Plus, who are mainly dealing about long-term research and fundamental research. We have Batteries Europe, which is the ETIP, the European Technology and Innovation Platform, which is a very open forum where everybody can participate.
Okay.
And this is where we write or define the global vision on the roadmap. BEPA is then organizing this within the European Commission. And the IPCEIs are more, as I said, higher TRL and industry oriented.
Shorter term.
But the important thing is that we do not work in silos, that we avoid to do double work, because we have limited resources, and we cannot afford to do the same work in two different organizations, and that we are globally aligned on a short to mid to long-term vision on what do we need to do, where do we need to go, and so that we unite forces all along this value chain. Well, from, as I said, very fundamental research up to the implementation in the industry.
So thank you so much, Michael, for coming over to our stand and give this positive message for the future of European battery technology. So have a great rest of the show.
Thank you very much. Tausend Dank. Merci beaucoup.